Hello everyone and welcome back to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah and in today's video I have 5 time management tips to share with you that I have personally used to help me accomplish my goals in a more efficient way. This video is done in collaboration with the Mega Motivation Group, and there's an awesome playlist with more time management tips that is linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's jump right into the tips. Tip number 1 is minimum viable product. It's technically a business term, but it can apply to most aspects of life. Rather than striving for perfection, focus on progress, getting whatever is needed to serve the minimum effort. Of course, this doesn't apply to every single thing, but many of our goals that we have, maybe we can't really achieve them and make it perfectly. But can we make progress and focus on what we need to do to move the needle before, the next day or towards that next step? Good enough can be good enough. And sometimes when we focus too much on trying to do something perfectly, it ends up taking way longer to get that last, 10% perfected than it would be to just say, hey, you know what? This is fine. This is enough. Tip number 2 is to set a timer for yourself when there is a task that you're not really looking forward to doing. Whatever it is, sometimes just getting started is all we need to do, and from there it's easier to finish a task, or even if you just did a task for 10 or 15 minutes, at least you did something. This can be a great task if you've got a decluttering project that you don't really want to do, or some sort of task that feels overwhelming and you don't want to get started, some cleaning, whatever it is, try setting a timer, even if it's just for 10 minutes, to get yourself to start. Once you have started, you've got 2 options. Either you go until your timer runs out and hey, success, you did something. Or maybe the timer runs out and you decide you want to keep going because you're already in the zone or the mindset. It's very easy to get ourselves to say, yeah, I can do this for 10 minutes. And setting a timer, especially for these unpleasant tasks, is a good sort of kick in the pants to get started and a little dose of motivation. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Tip number 3 is to share tasks or responsibilities when possible. At least in my own experience, I have always been a go-getter type of person, and I think where that has led to a fault is when I am a go-getter so much that I am doing tasks for other people and taking on a larger than reasonable share of responsibility. And it's actually been really nice recently. My husband now works with me on my businesses rather than teaching in the classroom, and it's been so nice to focus on shifting responsibilities that I was doing while he was at work and having more equal partnership. And we've been married over 7 years, so this really should have happened sooner, but to say, yeah, you know what, just because I maybe can do a task more efficiently or because I like a task more than he does, doesn't mean that I should always be doing the task. And, that's something where it's going to look different for every situation, every partner, spouse, child, parent, whatever the relationship is. But to try to think about if you feel like you've got too many tasks on your plate, can you delegate those elsewhere and maybe distribute them a little bit more equally. Likewise, you could see if there's opportunities to delegate things outside the home or even decide if certain tasks are necessary at all. But I know in our situation, it has just been really nice to try to give some of those house responsibilities to my husband, Jake, and we have more of an equal partnership now in that sense. And it's opened me up then to have more time to do other important tasks, whether that's within the business or even things around the home as well. So I know maybe it seems pretty obvious, but sometimes we're not always honest with ourselves about, is this really a fair partnership here? Is the task breakdown effective? Is this what's going to yield the best results long term? That's an important question, and these things might take a little reflection, but if you can adjust some of this, it can make a world of difference. Time management tip number 4 is to batch what you can. I love batching so much and try to do it as much as possible. Whether you're batch cooking meals or if you've got a work task that you try to schedule all at once. For me, I try to film multiple videos each day if I'm setting up all my equipment and getting ready. So you just have to look at your own schedule and decide what is it that I have to do regularly that I could consolidate into one session. And once you're already in the flow of whatever the task is, it's often easier to keep going, and then you can enjoy the benefits later on. Lastly, tip number 5 is to focus on single tasking rather than multitasking. The concept of multitasking is one that I think many of us hoped would work or hoped would be an option. Oh yeah, I can get this done while I'm also doing this, but our brains don't tend to work that way. And if you've got a task that requires more intense focus, it's probably more efficient to put all of your focus on that task rather than trying to juggle it between multiple tasks. Now, of course, there are certain tasks that are much more chill that you can multitask a little bit, such as if I'm calling my mom, can go for a walk or be walking around the house and getting some steps in while I'm on the phone with her rather than being seated, but not necessarily things that require deep focus while I'm doing something else. So with that, you can kind of audit your schedule and how you're spending your time. If it's taking you an extended amount of time to do a certain task that you're multitasking with, maybe try out timing yourself to see if you can get it done much more efficiently without those other distractions. I know for myself, rather than, let's say spending 3 hours working on tasks and also doing something fun, but kind of switching back and forth between them, I would rather, focus 45 minutes on a project and then spend the rest of that 3-hour window exclusively focusing on the fun thing. So it can help to audit what you're doing and see if there are tasks that you may be drawing out just because you're distracted. Those are all my time management tips today, but in the description below, you can access the playlist with so many other great ones to help you manage your time more effectively. If you're new around here, consider subscribing right up here, and you can check out some of my past videos here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.